Well, good day everybody, this is Steve at Winterbourne Workshop. How you doing? Right, today I will make something similar to this, which is holly, green, cut down 2 weeks ago. I picked it up yesterday from an old friend, and I just wanted to experiment and see what had happened to it. So you can see got quite a bit of movement on it. I'm going to leave it a few more days before I take off the foot, because that's all gone wonky. Got a couple of little cracks in there, but that really isn't an issue. And unusually for holly, there's a little bit of colour in it. So yeah, that turned out quite nicely. So what I will be doing is my take on this month's fourways. So I've got the other half of that log, and I've already found centres. Just put a fossil bit in there so I can stick it on the spur drive, and yeah, we'll see if we can make a live edge. Won't be a natural edge, or rather won't be a live edge, because I know this bark will come off, pretty sure it will, but it will be a natural edge. No, a live edge, I don't know which. I can't remember which one is which, but that probably is not going to have the bark on. So I'm just putting it between centres so that I can move it about a bit as required, as I know one side slopes off a little bit more than the other. And I want sort of centre in there, but like I say, that might move around depending. So for this I'm going to be using, no, I'm not going to be using the spindle gauge. I'm going to be using this 1/2 inch, I think it's 1/2 inch, let's have a look. Might be 1/2 inch, 3/8, yeah, 3/8 flute, 1/2 inch steel. So we'll get it shaped up, get a foot on it, and fiddle about with it, see where centre is, so we can get the high and the low spots at about the same distance. I don't think it's too far out, certainly not for the high spots, but we'll see about the low spots when we get further into it. So without any further ado, we'll spin it up. A little bit unbalanced, as you would expect. 624. Pull the curtains round so I don't spread the detritus everywhere. So normally you would try and preserve the bark on something like this and come in from the top end, but the bark is going to peel off in any way. Tighten it up a bit. look at it now. Right, so we got rid of all the flat spots. Now we'll just have a look and see. So the top is perfect, comes in perfectly. So we'll look at the bottom. Right, so that's about 1/4 of an inch out. I'm reasonably happy with that, to be perfectly honest, because there is a lower spot and a higher spot on there because of this little branch inclusion here. So I'm not going to mess about with that too much. So let's get some sort of a foot onto it. I'm not too worried about the size of the foot, it's just as long as I can catch it on a chuck, because I'll either be taking the foot off, giving it a wobbly bottom, or putting little tripod feet on. I'm just using a spindle gauge for this. So that should do me for now. What I'll do is turn it round, put a recess in there so I can get it back round again and shaped up. So it's a bit lumpy bumpy at the moment. Just knock that spare drive out. For this I'll be using a Vic Mark chuck, which at the moment I've got a spare drive in. Right, let's get going on that. Right, so we've got it turned over. Let's get some of the meat out the inside. Actually a pleasure to do green wood. Just for a change. I feel like you could peel it out with a butter knife. Right. Make a recess in there. A little scraper on that. The right way round, of course. Good. get this cleaned up on the bottom here. Just going to give yourself a bit more of a foot. Deeper. Get a scraper onto it now. Here's the Tomasic refiner. Take a look at that. Yeah, that's seems to have done okay. So we'll get a bit of sandpaper on that. I haven't got to worry about extraction at this point because it's wet. A little bit of dust coming off there, but right, so I can just see a few fine tool marks there. I'm going to attack that. I'm going to actually physically hand sand it when it's dry. So we'll get that turned around. And I'm not worried about protecting it. I know it's going to go black and wet wood because that's coming off, and anyway I'm going to be reshaping it in some form or other. Oh, the one thing I did want to do is just put a centre mark in there. Just bump it with the make sure I've got that central. Yep. Right. Right, let's get the middle out. Try that as a camera permutation. It's difficult to frame what you're trying to do and not get in the way. So that's quite thin enough, I think. It's 3/16, which I think is okay. So let's get a scraper in there, one with a bit of a tighter curve on it, I think. Right, move the camera, and there's probably going to be flicker on the previous shots because I was too close to this light up here, so that's going to be a bit disturbing for you. But if I edit that out, that'll probably it won't have much of a video left. So yeah, we got to be a bit careful when sanding this type of bowl. Make sure your leading edge is always running away from the bowl, otherwise it's going to get caught in those voids. Right, so that's done at 120. I've worked my way through the grits statically like that. You just get too much wobble if you spin it up, and of course you're going to hit this leading edge first, and that'll leave the bowl on this trailing edge and wear this edge away and leave that high, so best to do it static. So I'll bring you back when I've finished sanding, and yeah, we'll get some tripod feet on it. Right, so this has been in the microwave 3 times for a minute and a half each time, and despite all my best efforts, I've still got some tiny cracks in there, but I'm not worried about those. I'm not going to try and fill them. So just using this little setup, and because it's got an uneven bottom, got a little piece of scrap wood there, and you can see I've already set up a nice geometric pattern. Simply to do that, just find your center hole, which I put in earlier, draw yourself a circle, then decide on a point on the outside circle, pop it in, do a mark that way, then go from that mark and just work your way around. And so you can pick any of those 3 feet. So I'm going to use that one, and that one, and then grind all this away in here. Whoop, not that bit. I want to keep that, don't I? Get rid of that. I'll do that one first. Now I normally use a grinder for this, but a grinder is a little on the big side for this piece of work. It's only, I don't know how big it is across, 6 inches I think. Pretty sure it is 6 inches. Yeah, 6 inches. So So obviously a grinder wheel would take too much away. So I've got a burr on this Dremel. I'll attack it with that initially and see how that works. The thing is with a burr, they're quite aggressive and they tend to want to pull one way, so got to be quite careful. So I'll keep that one, so go in the middle. Well, a bit rough and ready at the moment, but what I'll do now is whip that burr out and pop a little sanding wheel in, see if that works. If not, I'll go on to the angle drill. Right, so there it is, fairly rough, but I've got 3 high points, so that will sit on there, which is quite good. So what I'll do now is get an angle drill, a small arbor on it, and attack it with that. So we can't improve things a little bit. Let's just move these little bits out of the way so they don't get lost. Go for a 120 grit to start with. Right, well what I'll do now is quite a bit of hand sanding just to smarten that up, and then we'll get a finish on it. So I'll bring you back in a bit. Right, so we're all sanded up to 300, done most of it by hand. Got these little tripod feet, which lets it sit without wobbling, and for this I'm going to be using, whoop, nearly dropped it, Lockskin hemp oil, Lockskin, and it is just hemp oil, nothing else in there, so it's quite natural, and made in the UK, down in Cornwall I think, or Devon, one or the other. I'm pretty sure it's Cornwall. I find that works quite good for wet wood. Well, it works really good for dry wood as well, but with wet wood it kind of seals it and slows the drying process down a bit. Now you notice the bark is still on there. I've got every confidence that it's going to come off, but I'm going to leave it on there for now and let it peel off in its own time, and then I'll smarten the edges up. So, and this will get 2 or 3 coats of this as it dries out and hardens. Because it's got nothing in it, it's only the natural hardener, you know, the natural time that will will harden it up, so you have to be a bit patient with it, 2 or 3 days, but I'm in no hurry. So I like the fact that it's completely food safe. I know exactly what's in there, although I can't imagine anyone eating the cornflakes out of this, but it'd probably be okay for peanuts or crisps. So there it is, my take on July's four-ways turning. And I can't tell you how much it's moved, because obviously it was out of shape in the first place, but it did move a bit because the foot had gone oval on it. So if you got this far, thanks very much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye now.